Hello everybody, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to create this stunning travel app UI within Flutter. In this tutorial we're going to take a look at how to work with columns, rows, as well as stacks within Flutter and how we can work with list views and generate them dynamically. So with that said, let's get into the video. The first thing I'm going to do is let you guys know that I'm starting from an empty Flutter project. So this is the default project that you get when you initialize an empty Flutter project. With that said, the first thing that I'm going to be doing is that within my main.dart file, I am going to be removing everything that's within my homepage class because I'm not going to be using that. Then I will go to my lib folder, create a new folder called pages. And within this, I'm going to create a new file, which I'm going to be calling travel_page.dart. With this done, I'm going to basically create a stateless widget because we're not going to be working with any state in this tutorial. And I'm going to be calling this travel page. With this done, the last thing that I'm going to be doing is for the build method for this widget, I'll return a scaffold instead of a placeholder. To command save, come back to my main.dart file, and then for the home attribute for the material app, I will now call the travel page. With this done, I'll do command save. I'll start debugging my application, and while it does this, we can actually talk about the structure of our UI a little bit. So our UI can be divided into two parts. We have a background and a foreground. The background is this image on which we have this title which says Thailand Islands, as well as a specific amount of dates. And then below that, we have a container which consists of a list view, and we can scroll through this list view to see all of the different hotels that are available to us to book a room at. So now that we understand that our UI is divided into two main components, now that the application is running, the first thing that we're going to be doing is going to our travel page. And then from here, I'm going to be creating a function called build UI, which will be responsible for building the UI for this page. And I recommend that you break up your logic for your application into smaller parts to make it very easy to understand. Here, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be basically saying that I'm going to be returning a stack. As I had mentioned, we're going to have a background and a foreground. And in Flutter, we use a stack to actually put widgets one on top of each another. So with this done, similar to row or column, if you've ever worked with them, we'll have the children's property. So I'll do that. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another function, which I'm going to call background. And this function is going to be responsible for rendering the background. And then what I'll do is that for now, I'll return an empty container, and I'll take this background and I'll say that for the first children of the stack, it's going to be the call to this background function. Once this is done, we can actually start defining how our background is going to be. So it's basically going to be a container with a background image, and then it's going to have some text within it. So let's do that. So the first thing to this is going to be to define the height and width for container. If you take a look closely at the UI, you're going to see that the image extends all of the width of the device and half of the height. So we'll do that by doing media query dot off context dot size dot height, and then I'm going to say that this is going to be 0.50, and then for the width, what I'll do is that I'll do media query dot off context dot size dot width, and this is going to be the complete width, so we'll leave it like that. Then I'll pass the build context to this function. I'll say it'll get the context, and then I'll do the same for the build UI. And I'll pass this context to the background, do command save, and we can move onwards to the next step. The next step is going to be to actually render this image in our container. We can do it in a couple of ways. The way that we're going to be doing this is by defining a background image or a decoration image that's going to act as the background image for our container. So to do that, I'll do decoration, type box decoration. Then it has an image attribute, and this is going to be of a type that could be asset image or network image or any other image. I'm going to use network image, and then here we're going to be pasting the URL to the actual image. I got this image from a website called pexels.com, so let me just quickly show that to you. If you're looking for stock copyright-free stock photography, you can go to a website called pexels.com, and here all of the actual images and videos you can use without any royalty. So with that said, let's keep going. So I'll just copy in a URL to an image that I like. And I will paste this in. I'll let you guys know that if you are interested in downloading the source code for this project, then a link to that will be in the description, as well as the top pinned comment. You can click on that, go to my website, and download the source code from there. And I think the reason it's giving us an error because this image needs to be of type decoration image. And then the decoration image has an image property, which defines where we load the image from, and that's going to be a network image, like so. And then add a color here, you like so, and do command save, and hopefully the image should now display. and see if it shows. And I can see why it's not showing, because for our scaffold, we do not have the body attribute set. So the body attribute for the scaffold is going to be build UI, do command save, and now the image is showing. So now what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to basically work with the fit of the image so that it looks a bit better on screen. So I'll do fit, and that's going to be equal to box fit dot cover. So now that we can display our background image, the next thing that I'm going to be doing is adding that text on top of this. So to do that, I'll define a child property for my container. I'll say that this is going to be a column. And the reason for that is because we have two different texts showing on top, which is this bold and then the semi-bold one. So what I'm going to do is define a column. I'll say the column will have children. And then the first child is just going to be a text widget. So I'll just copy and paste this code in. It's very simple. So there's nothing complicated in this. And then after this, what I'm going to be doing is that for my column, I'm going to be changing some attributes to align this properly. So firstly, it's going to be the main axis size, which is going to be main axis size dot max. Then it's going to be the main axis alignment, which is going to be main axis alignment dot end. Still push everything to the bottom of the column and start everything from there. And then for the cross axis alignment, it'll be cross axis alignment dot center. Do command save. And once this is done, then I'm going to copy in the next text attribute. So just after this text, I'm going to add another text. This is going to be the dates. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be moving this stuff up from the bottom by actually adding some padding to my column. So I'm going to wrap it with a padding widget. And for the padding, I'm going to say that it's going to be edge and set dot only. And I'm going to do only from the bottom. And I'm going to say that from the bottom, it's going to be media query. And since we want to make this UI responsive and dynamic, what I'm going to be doing is that I'll say it's going to be media query dot off context dot size dot width or dot height, sorry. And my testing concluded that 0.1 was a good height. And then do command save. So with this done, now our background is looking the way it's supposed to look. So we can actually move towards building our list view. So before we can actually build the list view is in a container, and this container has rounded corners. So let's do that first. So to do that, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be now creating another function. I'm going to call this widget, and this function is going to be called locations list. And this is basically going to display all of the locations that we can be at. Then I'm going to say that this is going to basically return a container, and this container is going to have a height and a width. So this time what I'm going to be doing is that I'll just copy those in. Why? Because I've already shown you guys how to do this. And what I'm going to be doing is that I'll also say that our actual locations list will also have the actual build context passed to it. Then for the child, I'm going to say that then for the decoration, I'm going to basically set some attributes so that we can actually define the border radius for this container. So I'm going to say that the decoration will be of type box decoration. And then I'll take this location list. I'll go to the very top to my build UI function. And after the background, I'll say that we're going to have the locations list, and I'll pass the context to this as well. And then do command save. And then what I'm going to be doing after this is in my locations list, I'm going to set the color property to be colors.red, just so that we can actually see where the container is. You can see it's at the top here. So I want to move this below. When we have things within a stack, as you can see in our build UI, we are using a stack. A clever way of positioning these items is to actually wrap whatever item that you want to position with an align widget. So wrap with a widget. And by the way, I'm using Control Shift R on macOS and Command Shift R to pop up this refactor option, which allows me to wrap these or refactor my code with different widgets. And here I'm going to say align. So I'm wrapping my container with an align widget, and then I'm going to set the alignment to be alignment dot bottom center, like so. And this will move the container down within our stack. So now this is done. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be changing the radius. So for that, I'll define the border radius property for my decoration. I'm going to say it's going to be border radius dot only. And then I'm going to say that for the top right, it's going to be radius dot circular, and then a property value such as 15. So we want the radius on the right to be curved by 15. As you can see, now the actual radius is curved. And then for the top left, I'll do the same thing. So I'll say we're going to have top left, and then it's going to be the same radius dot circular. To command save, and now the top left is curved as well. So now this is done, we can actually move towards building the actual list view within this that is going to show our locations. So for that, I'll take my container, I'm going to add a child to this. I'm going to say this is going to be a list view. And that's pretty much it. This list view is going to have a children's property, and the children for now are going to be nothing. With this then, I will change the color for my actual container to be white, do command save, and I'm going to create a new folder within my actual project called widgets. And then inside of here, I'm going to create a new file, which I'll call hotel_tile.dart. And then here, I'm going to create a stateless widget. Again, I'm going to call this hotel tile. And this is where we're going to be defining all of the logic for our hotel tile. So let's take a look at how our hotel tile actually looks like. So our hotel tile basically has an image within it. It also has a text for the hotel name, the starting price, the rating, and then a star. So this is pretty much all we have. So to get started, the first thing that I'm going to be doing is that for my hotel tile, I'm going to define some attributes that will be passed to this. And that is going to be the image of the hotel, the name of the hotel, the actual rating, as well as the starting price. So what I'm going to be doing is basically copy and pasting this code in like so. And then after this, I'm also going to update the constructor by just copy and pasting that in like so. Once this is done, I am going to move to the build function, and within our build function, we are going to be starting defining how our tile is going to look. So firstly, instead of returning a placeholder, I'm going to return a container. Then this container is going to have a height and a width. So I'll copy this code and paste it in. And it's basically defining the height to be 15%, the height of the device for each tile, and 80% of the width of the device. Then after this, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to basically say that the child for this is going to be a row element. And now you're going to say, why are we using a row widget? Well, if you closely take a look at the actual UI, you're going to see that our hotel tile has three main parts. There's an image, then alongside that on the right of it, there's the title for the hotel, and then to the right of that, there's the rating. And this can be achieved by using a row, and that's why we're using a row. Then the first child for our row, and you guessed it right, is going to be the image for our hotel. So I'm going to create a function, and this function is going to be responsible for returning a widget which will display the hotel image. And then I'm going to say that this function will get the build context similar to what we've doing before. Then I'm going to say that I'm going to define the actual image and how it's going to look. So I'm going to say that this time I'm going to return a sized box. The sized box is going to have a height and a width, and this height and the width are going to be the same because our image is a square. So I'm going to create a variable called size, and I'll set that equal to media query.offContext size.height. So 13% of the size of the device. And then I'm going to set the height to be size as well as the width to be size. And after this, I'm going to say that now I'm going to basically create a child for this, which is going to be image.network. And I'm going to say that the image is going to be the image that gets passed to this. So this is the property for the hotel tile. And the fit for this image is going to be box fit dot, and then I'm going to say cover. With this done, I'm going to do command save. I'll come back to my travel page. I'm going to come to the list view, and I'll create a hotel tile here. So I'll say hotel tile, and then I need to give it a name and an image and a price and a rating. So I'll just copy and paste this code in like so. Into command save. And then after this, what I'll do is that I'll copy and paste this code in for 3 more hotels. Just give me a second. So it's the same thing, just for 3 more hotels, I'm pasting the name, rating, price, and image, and I'm instantiating a new hotel tile and adding it to the children's list for the list view. And then I'll do command save. Oh, and I see why the actual hotel image is not showing. Why? Because we haven't added it as a child to our build functions row. So do command save, and hopefully this time we can see the images displaying and we can scroll through them, as you can see. The next thing now that I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be rounding off the corners for these images. So for that, what I'll do is that for the image.network, I'm going to be wrapping this with clip or rect, and then child is going to be image.network like so. And here I'm going to say that our clip.rect is going to have a border radius, which will be border radius.circular. And I'm going to say that it's going to be 8, do command save. And now you can see that our images have been rounded. With this done, we can actually focus on the background of our hotel tile and get that sorted out. So to do that, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be going back to my build function and I'm going to be setting some things here. So the first thing that I'll do is that I will basically define the decoration property for this container, and I'm going to say it's going to be box decoration. And then inside of here, I'm going to set the color and the border radius. So let me just copy and paste this in. And once this is done, the next thing that I'll do is I'm going to be setting the box shadow element or the attribute for this box. So I'm going to say it's going to be box shadow, and this attribute is used to add shadows to any widget. As you can see, we have a slight shadow behind our card. So that's what we're going to be doing with this property. It expects to be a list of box shadows. So I'm going to say that we're going to add a box shadow. The box shadow is going to have a color. It's going to be colors.black12. That's what my test included worked out pretty good. Blur radius is how much blur do we add to the actual shadow. The spread radius is how much does the actual shadow spread. And then I do command save. As you can see, the shadow is now being displayed. And then I want to offset the shadow a bit towards the bottom. So what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be adding an offset property, and I'm going to offset it by 5 on the x-axis and 10 on the y-axis. Do command save, and you can see that the shadow is now a little bit offsetted. With this done, I'm now going to be basically adding some margin to our hotel tile so that it doesn't extend all the way towards the end of our screens, and there's space between them, which there isn't now. So to do that, what I'll do is that I'm going to be coming back to my container. I'm going to be, after the width, adding a property called margin, and I'm going to say that margin is going to be edge dot only, and I want from the bottom the margin to be 10. Let's see how it looks. Now you can see there's some space between each hotel tile. Then from the right, I want it to be 20, and from the left, I want it to be 20. Do command save, and there you go. Now our hotel tiles are looking very nice. With this done, we can now actually come back towards displaying the information within the hotel tile, and that all happens within the row children's list. So we have the hotel image working. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is adding the information for the hotel's name and price. So for that, I'll create another function called widget. I'm going to say that this is going to be called hotel info, and I'm going to say that this is going to be a column. And the reason it's going to be a column is because we have one text on top of each another. So as you can see, and this can be achieved by using a column. So I will say that this is going to return a column, and I'm going to say that the children for the column is going to be an empty list. I'll take this hotel info, I'll come back to the row children. After the hotel image, I'll add the hotel info, do command save, come down, and now I'm going to add the first child, which is going to be a text, and the text is going to be the name of the hotel. Let's do command save. Let's see that if the name shows up. It's showing. And then we're going to set the style for this as going to be const text style. And I'm going to say that it's going to be equal to color, which is going to be colors.black. And then from there, font size, which is going to be 15. And then font weight, which is going to be font weight dot W500. And there you go. Now we can see this. With this done, the next thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the same text. I'm going to copy it, paste it again. This time we're not going to be saying this. Instead, we'll say that we're going to have a from price. So that's going to be from and then a $sign. To escape this $sign and not use it for string interpolation, we can use the backslash, and this escapes it. And then I'm going to add another $sign because I want a variable to be interpolated within the string. And I'm going to say that's going to be the price. To command save, and now the price is showing. And then I'll just change the color for this to be black 45, font size to be 12, font weight to be W300, to command save, and there we go. Now I'm just going to be aligning this properly. So to do that within my column, I'm going to say that the main axis size is going to be main axis size.max. The main axis alignment will be main axis alignment dot start. So I want these to be aligned with each other from the start, like so. So this pushes everything to one side, and then actually center, sorry, because it's a column. And then for the cross axis alignment, I want it to be start. And there we go. Once this is done, I'm going to actually be adding some space within the image and this hotel information. So to do that, I will come back to my row, which holds my hotel image and the hotel info. For this, I'll say that the main axis alignment will be main axis alignment dot space evenly, cross-axis alignment will be cross-axis alignment dot center, and then the main axis size would be main axis size dot max. And that's pretty much all we had to do for the hotel column. So the last thing that we need to do is basically add this rating. So to do that, I'm going to be doing the same logic again, where I'll create a function that's responsible for rendering this widget. I'll say that this function is going to be called hotel rating. And then I am going to say that this is going to return a row once again. And the reason this is going to return a row is because this actual rating number and the actual star icon are in a row, because that star is an icon and it's not a text. And to align these in a horizontal manner, we're going to be using a row. So I'm going to say again that we're going to be returning a row. The row is going to have a children's property. For now, we'll say that's going to be empty. I'll take this hotel rating. I'm going to go to the build function and then find the row, and then after the hotel info, add the hotel rating. And then I'm going to come back, and for the first property for the hotel rating, I'm going to be adding the text widget. So I'll just paste that in because it's very simple. It's just rating dot toString as fixed 1. So this just limits how many decimal points can the rating have. So it'll fix that to just 1 decimal point, and then just defining some styling for it. And then after this, we're going to be adding a icon. So to do that, I'm going to say that we're going to have an icon. It's going to be icons.star, I believe, is the icon. As you can see, the icon is showing now. Then I'm going to say that the size for this icon is going to be 15, and then the color for this is going to be colors.purple. Like so, and do command save. And that's pretty much it. So with that, we're basically done with our UI. Now you have a perfectly functioning UI in which you can see all of these hotels in a beautiful list view. The list view has this bouncy effect in it, as well as you have a stunning background, and you know how to work with columns, rows, stacks, as well as list views within your Flutter application. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, then please don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel. Remember that the source code to this video can be found in the link in the description, as well as in the top pinned comment. And with that, stay happy, stay healthy, keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.